I used to think dolls were just harmless decoration creepies sometimes. Sure, but still just painted porcelain and stitched fabric until the night I stayed at my sister's house and heard one whisper my name in the dark. Soft enough to make me doubt myself, but clear enough that I knew it wasn't my imagination. I'd agreed to watch my niece for a couple of weeks while my sister worked night shifts, and everything seemed normal at first, except for this old-fashioned doll my niece kept close by. The kind with glass blue eyes and a stiff little smile that somehow never looked the same whenever I glanced at it twice. It wasn't a new doll either. The paint around its lips was cracked, and one of its eyelashes looked worn down, like someone had brushed it 1,000 times. The first time I noticed anything strange was on the second night when I walked past my niece's room and heard what sounded like a child whispering, breathy and low, stretching out my name like a question. I figured she was awake, maybe having a dream, but when I checked on her, she was sleeping deeply, curled up tight, and the doll was sitting upright on her pillow with its face pointed toward the doorway as if it had been watching me approach. I told myself it was nothing. Houses make noise, tired minds do weird things. But the nights that followed chipped away at whatever logic I tried to hold on to. Every night, around the same time, just after 3 a.m., I would wake up with this sinking sensation in my chest, like something was standing too close to me. Even though the room was empty, I'd hear soft taps down the hallway, tiny, uneven footsteps that reminded me of ceramic hitting hardwood. Once, I heard what sounded exactly like a small hand brushing against my bedroom door, slow and hesitant, like it was testing whether I was awake. I tried to laugh it off, but deep down there was a heaviness building inside me, like the house was hiding something it had been living with for too long. Then there were the reflections always. The reflections. One night, while heating up leftovers, I caught the doll in the microwave's glass door, sitting on the edge of the kitchen table, even though I knew I had left it upstairs on my niece's dresser. When I turned around, it was facing a different direction than it had in the reflection, its eyes angled upward like it was trying to look at my face. That moment stayed with me for hours, and when I finally went back upstairs, the doll was on the floor, lying right in front of my bedroom door, as if it had been waiting for me to return. I asked my niece the next morning where the doll had come from, thinking maybe my sister had picked it up at an antique shop or someone had given it to her as a gift. But she said something that made my whole body tense. She didn't get it from anyone. She told me she found it on their porch early one morning, wrapped in old newspaper tied with string, and her name was written across the top in shaky handwriting like someone had tried to copy a child aspirant. It wasn't even a birthday or special occasion. It was just there, waiting. She said she brought it inside because the doll looked cold, and she didn't want it to be alone. When she said that, I felt this strange chill, a stillness that settled under my skin, because the more I replayed the last few nights in my head, the more it felt like the doll hadn't just arrived, it had chosen to be there. That night, I made up my mind. I wasn't going to let some antique toy make me feel like a guest in my own sleep. So after my niece fell asleep, I picked up the doll carefully, because it felt heavier than it looked, and locked it inside an old storage box in the garage. I taped the lid shut, wrapped the box in a blanket, and shoved it behind some old crates. I stood there a moment, waiting, half expecting to hear something move inside, but everything stayed silent. I walked back inside, feeling relieved, lighter even, like I had taken back control. But around 3:12 a.m., I woke up again, this time not from tapping or footsteps, but from the distinct sound of tape peeling, a slow, tearing noise that crackled through the hallway like someone was trying not to be heard. My heart hammered inside my chest as I sat up, listening. The peeling stopped, replaced by the softest, most delicate footsteps I'd ever heard, like something fragile was stepping carefully across the floor. Then, from the hallway, just inches beyond my door, a tiny voice whispered my name with a confidence it hadn't had before, clear, soft, almost pleased. I didn't want to open the door, but the silence that followed was worse, because silence meant it had moved. I reached for the light switch, and as the hallway flickered into view, I saw the garage door slightly open, a faint trail of shredded tape on the floor. My breathing started to shake. I followed the trail only far enough to see the storage box lying on its side, the blanket pushed aside like something had crawled out. There were small ceramic footprint sexual marks leading away from the box, each one perfectly shaped. They stopped halfway through the living room, and as I scanned the shadows, I saw the doll sitting on the bottom stair, its head tilted, its eyes reflecting the hallway light like something alive. I knew I had to protect my niece, so I forced myself forward, but before I could reach the stairs, the doll's head moved not fast, not suddenly, just a slow, deliberate turn toward me like it had been waiting for me to get close. And then it whispered, not just my name this time, but a sentence that felt like it reached inside my chest and squeezed something vital. I'm not calling you anymore. I'm coming with you. The voice didn't sound like a child's anymore. It sounded older, heavier, almost relieved. I ran to my niece's room, knowing I had to get her out. But when I opened her door, she was sitting up in bed, wide awake, smiling faintly at me. She whispered, "It's okay. She just wants to stay where she belongs." To this day, I don't know what she meant by that, or how long the doll had been there before she ever found it. Olik no we moved out the next morning, but sometimes, right around 3:12 a.m., no matter where I am, I swear I still hear that tiny voice whispering my name from somewhere nearby, closer each time. Like it remembers me, like it's still learning the sound of my footsteps, waiting for a night when I finally stop running.